Oh, hi. My previous videos on drone simulation was on Ardupilot, uh, SITL simulator communicating with a ground station. So they are, instead of the the actual flight controller, I have used this SITL drone simulator. And instead of this RF link, the link was Wi-Fi links. And of course, the ground station is a computer. So I'm running the ground station in my laptop, and I was running the simulators in Raspberry Pis, and they were communicating through the local network, and the drones were simulated by the SLTL simulator. Now, in this work, we have replaced the simulator with the actual flight controller. Again, actual flight control is also Ardupilot based flight controller. And this Wi-Fi links over the local network was replaced by actual RF link. For that, we are using the telemetry radios. If I go on to Q ground control, the application. So here now, the flight controller is connected to the ground station through the radio. So I have these warnings because the drone, the actual drone, the physical structure is not completely built. I will show you like how far we have come so far. And so the communication happens through this antenna. So this antenna is from the ground station, and this antenna is from the flight controller. So I will show the setup in a few seconds. So in here, you can see the flight is, or the flight control is right now around this GPS location. The actual location is not this one. Since I'm indoors right now, the location has changed a bit. My actual location is somewhat here. So if I take the flight controller near to the window, so this I'm at indoors near to the window, it gives the correct GPS location. So if I have time, I will show that as well. And at the same time, so I can show you the flight controller here. So this is the flight controller. This is the one which goes on top of the drone itself. So my drone structure is this one. So this goes somewhere on top of this, and the GPS antenna goes on top of this one. So right now the GPS antenna is here. The GPS antenna goes on top of this one, and this flight controller goes on top of this one. So now when we change this flight controller's orientation, now you can see in here, right? You can see now when I move this is changing. So I can actually receive data properly from the flight controller to my ground station. Right. I can even show you an application running on the ground station, which I have written, which changes settings in here as well. Yeah, so there's a, it shows, I think it might be a GPS glitch, this warning, which is showing in yellow color. Yeah, it's a glitch, but it says the glitch is cleared. Okay, so I will show you the actual setup using another camera. Give me a sec. Okay, before that, I will show the connection with the Raspberry Pi. So this is a Raspberry Pi. This Raspberry Pi is connected to the flight controller, because if I'm running an application, the application should run in this Raspberry Pis, and the flight controller is the one which is controlling the drone. So any application, we can write any application in the Raspberry Pi to control the network, or to get any work done. So that those are the applications. And now the flight controller is connected to the Raspberry Pi, and my antenna is also connected to the Raspberry Pi. And then the Raspberry Pi to communicate into the ground station using MAVProxy and MAVLink protocol. Yeah, so I will show you the setup. So this is my drone structure. So I have not connected the blades yet, and yeah, and the battery and the flight controller, and the flight controller has the GPS on top of it, but I have to take that one off and put that one on top of this. And then I have the telemetry radio here, and so yeah, so that is my drone. So these I have to connect to the frame, and then I have my ground station here. So ground station is not connected to any of this, so the communication happens through these two antennas, and it comes to this ground station, and the ground station shows the details. So I have muted my ground station because there are warnings coming up since I have not completely connected the setup. So yeah, so those are the things that I wanted to show. So the connection.
RC not found.
So even when I move
Hardware safety
switch.
This
Pre-arm, you can see this one changes, right? So this one changes when I move this. The arrow changes. That's because it is properly sending the data. Right. Now we are back to our ground control application, or the Q ground control. Here I want to show you a couple of things. For example, now you can see my location is pretty much okay because I left the flight controller near the window, so I can get proper GPS location. So here, if I click on this one, I can see number of GPS satellites that it is being connected to. So it shows as 3D lock when the GPS is properly locked. And then here, this particular flight controller is connected through this telemetry radio, this SIC radio, SIK radio. So these warnings I have to ignore for now. And the other thing is, now I am connected to my Raspberry Pi, to which the flight controller is connected to via this application, the VNC application. Now here, this is where I get the flight controller running. And the important thing here is, since I'm using a Raspberry Pi, not directly communicating with the flight controller, but with the Raspberry Pi can run its own simulations as well. Now, for example, now here, while actual flight controller is running, I am running another simulator in the same Raspberry Pi. Now, if you see this vehicle 100 is a simulation that I'm running in the same Raspberry Pi. That's why I'm using this particular setup. There are a lot of things that we can do. Now, if I want to turn this one off, I would just go to this, and I'm running it in this window. So now I have disconnected my simulation. So if I come back to my ground station, now I will see now the vehicle 100, my simulation is disconnected. However, my actual flight controller connected to the Raspberry Pi is still running, right? So the importance here is, now I can get the actual flight running and write applications to control my actual flight. And at the same time, I can have a simulator running in the same drone without the drone running. I can get my applications tested there, right? So when you are using the Raspberry Pi and running this all this MAVProxy and MAVLink and all that to communicate to the Raspberry Pi and get the Raspberry Pi to communicate to the flight controller, we can have our own simulation environment while the same Raspberry Pi can be attached to the flight controller and run our actual applications, right? So there are a lot of things that we can do. So I will be building up the drone network as well using these Raspberry Pis. And once I get that setup done, I will do another video. So for now you can see with Raspberry Pis and MAVLink, MAVProxy, using open source flight controllers, we can use our we can build our own drones, and we can build our own applications. And at the same time, we can run the simulations as well within the same setup, right? So I will come back with another video. Thank you.